Welcome to the Good Luck Workshop. My name is Joe, and today we're going to build this. A nice little shelf hang on the wall. Kind of looks like a lattice style. I'm not sure what you want to call it, but this is what we're going to make. So first thing you want to do is meet me at the table saw. All right, we set the saw for 3/4 of an inch. Set it for the height, just over our material. I'm going to rip these down. Before we do that, double check. Make sure we don't hit nothing. We're good there. Now we're going to take the scrap I have. We're going to cut it down to 3/4. I should get enough here for the back, basically, these little slats. Let's get her done. Okay, now that I've cut all my leftovers scrap to 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch, whatever length this was, really doesn't matter. You can make them as tall or as short as you like. That's 35 and 5/8, and the long ones are 37 and 3/4. That doesn't matter. What matters is a 3/4 by 3/4. What we want to do is I want to make our layout on them because we're going to put in our short blocks first and glue those up before we can go and do our short blocks before we can glue on the long ones. Lock that there. That's nice and flush. I'll lock it down here too, just because I don't want stuff moving around. I want to be able to do our layout. Now our layout, we've got 2 for the bottom, like that. We'll have 4 for the top. I think the bottom ones, yeah, that looks about right. About 3 inches. So, from the bottom edge, flat edge, all I got is pencils, pens. Give me a pencil. Thank you. We're going to mark it at 3 inches. On all 5 pieces. That'll be for, I'll put our things here, and then 3/4 of an inch from there, but we'll cheat. We'll use a spacer block. Okay, now let's see. We're going to put the first shelf block, because there's a block underneath, and then the shelf. We're going to take that first block. That's 3/4. There. And there. I'm going to put that first block here. Yeah, that's about right. So, do the bottom of the first block at 10 inches. So we'll mark that. And the block will go here. And the next block for the next shelf, we'll close the top. Let's mark that off at 24 inches. Slide that up out of the way. Clamp that back down again. We'll mark that on all 5 pieces. 24 inches. Oh, broke the lead. Don't be doing that now. Dumbass. Come on. You know, sometimes mechanical pencils just aren't worth it. They give you a nice fine point. But I snap that lead more often on this. What is this one? A 1/2 millimeter? Yeah, 1/2 millimeter. That's why. It's meant for drawing. It's not meant for layout. But that's okay. Then we'll mark those where our pegs are going to. Oh, and then on the top, let's do our layout. For the top, pop that for a second. Because we got 4 of these at the top. They'll all be 3/4 of an inch apart. Space them that way. I'm thinking probably best. Well, we may have to move that shelf down. Let's find out. Grab our spacer blocks. That close to the top. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to move that down a little bit. But this is pretty much where I want that. So we'll mark that. It's where I want it. Those will be our top marks, cross pieces, accents, whatever you want to call it. Let's get rid of that other piece. That's not the space for that shelf. Yeah, that's too low. Leave any room in there for the shelf that we're going to put in. Let's take these two. Let's see something. Yeah, that shelf can be a little lower, but not by much. We'll drop that down about 1 inch. Yeah, 1.5 inches. We'll set that 8.5 from the bottom. We'll put a marker here for the shelf. So this one can go away. So you don't make that mistake. We'll go to do our glue ups. Now for the second shelf, I'm thinking for the top side, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, people. We're going to take a shelf. This is going to be the bracket. That'll be the shelf width. We'll be cutting these down afterwards. So that looks like a good height, right about there for the bottom bracket. I'll just push that down, give it a little tick, and we'll square it up. And this will be the shelf, the top shelf. Because you're going to want a little room for the top pieces that make it the accent pieces and the bracket. So I like it. I think that'll look great. Put that away for now. Let's cut our shelf pieces, the shelf support, and the shelves down. Meet me at the chop saw. Okay, back at the chop saw. So what we want to do, we'll square up this first edge. The first dust collection. Probably can't hear that. That's okay. Okay, we squared up that end. Now our two shelves, I'll be 10 3/4 inches wide. Oh, don't need a stop block from the last project. I'll cut this to 10 3/4. This one. Show it flush. Those are going to be our two shelves. Now we're going to do the shelf brackets. Take this, cut them 2 and 6 3/4. This one. Flush. Just nudge out that line. These will be our shelf brackets. Now let's go back to the table. Okay, back at the workbench. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our spacers up for space these out. We're going to get ready with our 18 gauge, 1.25 inch brads. We're using these in a few minutes. These are going to be our shelf brackets. And these are going to be our shelves. So what we want to do now, to make life easy, first thing we're going to do, break down, get a clamp set, get this out of the clamps first. We're going to put our spacers in. This is the back. I know I marked the back, which is kind of silly. This will be our front. So that'll be our front. Yeah, that'll have to be our front because trying to hide the knots the best I can. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So we're gonna make we're gonna mark. Now since I did that, square this up again. Redo our marks. For this side, since I rotated that one 180 degrees, it actually works out in my favor. Can't believe I didn't do this before. That's okay. Our shelf marks, shelf bracket mark, I should say. And then our top mark over here for the top 4 decorative cross pieces. Good. Got back in the pockets. Start by putting our spacers in. Now the spacer will come back out this way. Each vertical piece is 3/4 inch apart. So the next. Now you'll get the view of this in a minute. Okay, nice and square. Out again. I thought about how to connect this. I'm thinking I'm just going to use glue, sticky stuff, and some brads. 18 gauge ought to do it. Thought about using the pin nailer through the front to hold it in place, but this will be fine. We'll put our top and bottom connectors on, but we're going to shoot it in from the back side. That's why the marks are on the back. I'll show you what I mean here in a second. I screwed that up. That needs to be over here. Okay. I was going to pull these spacers out. We're going to glue that right there. Lined up square. What we're going to do is shoot some brad it's in its ass. But before we do that, we're actually going to use a little CA and hold it in place so I can turn it over and shoot a brad from the backside. A little bit of CA. A little bit of activator. A little bit of glue. Just because we can. Adding the sticky stuff. All right. Little activator. Line up with our marks. Make it flush. Hold it for a second. That'll hold it in place. While we get out the gun. Flip it over. Tack it in place. It's good. Perfect. Just what we needed. And we're going to do, that's there. Let's go grab Thor. That's Thor. Sapele, white oak. Perfect, just what we needed. Now, let's do our next piece. Same process. Put a little CA. Little dab will do you. Just like the old Bro Cream. Little dab will do ya. Oh, take the cap off. There we go. Some sticky stuff. Take our shelf bracket. A little bit of activator. Line it up flush. All right. You hold that for a couple of seconds. Pull our clamps off. Put them out of the way. Just turn it over. Pop a couple of brads in it. Perfect. Okay. Now that we get that done, let's pop out our spacers. You can start to see it's coming to shape. Get these out of the way. We'll need those in a minute, actually. Let's go grab a wet rag and we'll clean up the squeeze out. Be right back. Okay. Like I said, I like a wet rag. Other guys will use a straw as another way of doing this. And then there's also, you can tape it if you like. I'm not a big fan. Tape inside corners of a box if you're going to finish it. Yes. But as far as this goes, this will be fine. Wipe off the excess glue, the wet rag, and we'll go on to our other pieces. Okay. Now what we want to do is the bottom has 2 and the top has 4. So we'll take the long one. We're going to do the exact same process. Take the CA for a little dab will do you. Just to give us a little holding power, because we're choosing to fasten from the back side. But one of the things I forgot to mention is we need to find a way. I didn't do a center mark. So, now that I think of it, let's center mark this pig. 3/4, that's 5 3/8. Little tick mark, 5 3/8. Then we'll center mark this 3/8. If I can get there. Oh, looks like I got to use my little square. I don't want to get glue everywhere. Little square. The center mark or center line, like people like to use it, this way. My tick mark. A little bit of activator. Line up with our line and the tick mark. Everything is centered. Let that hold. Get out of my way so you can see what I'm doing. Then we're going to put a spacer in. And we're going to take another one. Do the same thing. Little dab will do ya. A little glue. Now you could sit here and use CA for everything, but I don't believe that would be the best course of action. You really want the PVA glue because it'll hold up better. Over the long run, it's more flexible than CA. CA is great for quick fix, but we put that right up against our spacer. We hold it down. I didn't put activator on there because I was concentrating on the work like an idiot. We'll just hold it. You can watch me hold it for a little bit. I can talk to you. Yeah. Any questions, comments, please put them down in the comment section. I'd like to know what you think. All right. Now, let's flip it over. Grab old Mr. Brad Nailer. Pop a couple of okay. Now let's wipe off our squeeze out. If any, I didn't put that much in there. I kind of want to wipe that off. I'm going to put a, don't know if we're going to use a shellac or a stain. We'll see what it looks like. Isn't that nice? Now, let's go around to the top side. Last little pieces that we want to put on are little shelves. They're going to go on those little brackets like that. So what we're going to do next, same thing. We're going to do a center mark, 5 3/8. This one, 5 3/8 on this one. And then on that center divider, we're going to put a mark at 3/8 of an inch. So we know where to center everything out. Perfect. Okay, now that our glue's dried, on the back, we're going to pre-drill. I'm going to throw some screws in to hold that shelf in place so we have no issues with it, bending, folding. Put a little pre-drill our holes for our screws. Now, I'm going to use a 2-inch number 8 screw, coarse thread because it's pine. Make sure that's just below the surface. It'll be good. That'll add the strength that we need for these shelves. Because who knows how heavy the item is going to get put on it will be. Yep. Perfect. Now, sorry about the light. Nice and tight, nice and strong. Nice and flush. Oh, it looks great, doesn't it? Just got to do a little light sand. I'll throw some finish on it and figure out a way to hang it. I think we can do something with that. I think some figure 8 fasteners ought to do it. Trick. Right back with it. Mark. Okay, now that we had everything sanded and glued and stained, I chose a dark walnut stain. It looks good. I put 2 coats of lacquer on it. I'll show you some pictures when we hang it on the wall. I did put 2 keyhole slots on it on the back. What I recommend, though, doing is putting these keyhole slots in prior to assembly, as well as sanding. You're going to want to sand this prior to assembly. It's trying to sand through all these little nooks and crannies between the lattice uprights and verticals and horizontals. It is a pain in the arse. I do not like to do that. I'm not a big fan of staining pine, but this actually makes it look nice and good. I think it'll be great. So if you like the video, please like, subscribe, make a comment, tell me what you didn't like, tell me what you do like, and I'll get back to you, and I'll see you in the next one.